Hi everyone, it's Natasha. Thank you so much for opening this video and watching my video. And don't forget to click the subscribe button down below. It is in red, and I would be very happy for you to be a part of my YouTube channel family. So today, I didn't really plan on doing this until maybe 10 minutes ago. So obviously, if you read the title, it's about the company called Trugreen. They are people that do certain things on your lawn, like pest control as well as weed control. They're I think more catering to weed control. So we've only lived in our forever home for less than a year, and we didn't get it. We moved in last fall, so the weed issue wasn't really there. We didn't really know how bad it was. It wasn't until a couple months ago actually, that we noticed, the weeds was pretty bad. So when that happened, my husband went and researched what would be a company we should try, and Trugreen is nationwide and is well known. And he said that the reviews were they weren't the greatest, but they weren't the worst. They were kind of in the top, in the middle towards close to the top. So I'm just gonna give you guys an example. I don't know if they paid other people to review and make false reviews on there. I don't know, but this is very current, and this is this is all real. I mean, all my videos are real and very current as much as possible. The current part, I mean. So anyway, my husband just was looking for me and made sure I knew. So he was contacted by Trugreen. What they do is they contact you the day before and let you know they're stopping by the next day. That's how they schedule it. Or they schedule it in the system, and after they schedule it, they wait for 24 hours prior to coming over, and that's when they kind of just give you a notice that they're stopping by. So you really don't have a huge notice if they are planning on stopping by. Like if you have plans, they don't really care about that. I've even asked them if they could, let us know ahead of time before 24 hours, and they said, no, we can't do that. I don't think they can't do that. I think they just choose not to. So I'm going to start from the very beginning. Like I said, it was my husband that really dealt with them, especially in the beginning. And it wasn't until when they closed the sale that I was a part of it, because being pregnant and extremely hormonal, and the effects of pregnancy on me has been really hard on me, on my body, in which I just I get sleepy in 5 seconds. I get really tired for no reason. I get really hyper for no reason. It's hard for me to focus, all that stuff. So he had to do all the nitty gritty and all the questions that we were kind of thinking of, and all the inquiry, and making sure that everything that we needed, that they were going to do. So what they told us they were going to do, because I also wrote it down and I spoke with the salesperson, and she was a little bit annoyed that she had to talk to me to close it, because she spent like an hour or two with my husband, and he said, you know what? I got all the information. I'm going to write all this down, but I have to go to work, and my wife has a final say anyway. So I'm going to give her all this stuff, and just call this number back, which was my number, not his. And I'm going to give her all the info, and he wrote it, everything that they spoke about. He wrote it in the notepad, and she said she's going to read through it, and if she says yes, then it's a yes. She's going to give you our financial information. So because at the let's see, around that time, excuse me, I would have a hard time getting out of bed. I was, if, like, let's say I wake up at 9 o'clock and I get out of bed at 9 o'clock, 95% of the time, my day is going to be ruined. I won't be able to do anything aside from lie on a couch or lie in bed all day, because I would just be so lethargic and just so fatigued, and I can't do anything else. So what I was doing was I would just lay in bed about half an hour to an hour, and after that I would, slowly get out of bed. It can't be too quick because the nausea would kick in, so I had to slowly get out of bed, do my thing, get ready and all that stuff, and then so my husband was waiting for me to, get out of bed. He told me all the info, and it wasn't like I knew that day, I knew like the previous week, a previous week ahead of time. He was already doing all the legwork and looking for places and looking for reputable companies that would service in our area. So he picked this. It was there was one that was more expensive, and this was the second one and the most expensive one that he picked. First, he sifted it through rating, I think, in our area. I mean, the company in our area, and he based it on the rating, and the next was he based it on the price point. So I went, okay, now I'm going to go through when I start just to talk on the phone with this other person, with the salesperson. She sounded a little irritated because I think I was asking the same questions as my husband did, but I wanted to hear it from her. I wanted to make sure, it's our home. It's our home. It's our home, and it's our money. So of course I'm going to grill you. And I used to be in sales, and I was really great at it. So you're going to have to, that's how I always test people with sales. Like, if you're going to answer me, yeah, she didn't have the most ideal attitude, but she did still manage to answer all the questions still the same. Because I was testing her to see if she was giving my husband a different answer and giving me a different answer. And I'm not really that lenient when I'm going to grill you. I am just smacking down. I am not going to be cuddly. I'm not going to be nice. And you're going to have to buckle up. And I remember my husband telling me that because of how I look, when we do it physically, a lot of salespeople get taken aback because they're very shocked on how I grill them. They don't really expect it, because I'm only 5'5", especially when I'm walking around with my husband. He's like 6'2", and I'm only 5'5", and he looks more burly than I would, but he would ask like more kind of soft kind of, to me, soft kind of inquiries. But when I do it hardcore. I do it like, you have to be doing your job right. You have to be doing your homework. You have to have learned your training. You have to have excelled in it, because if not, I will just walk away. So I'm pretty tough and stuff like that. But my downfall was when it comes to Trugreen. Despite having to do everything that I have to do, I was still feeling a little bit off. So I was also getting irritated. She was getting irritated. When you don't feel so great and you're under the weather, all of your usual natural instincts usually get kind of dulled, because your body is not really in the normal state, and it's a little bit dulled down, and you're just not feeling so well. You're not as alert. You're not as quick. You're not thinking as fast, and you're not thinking as creatively. So all of that kind of dialed down a little bit. So I did have all the bullet points that my husband did have. So I did ask the same ones. She was able to answer that. I gave her her financial information, all that stuff. After that phone call, it wasn't until a few days later that I started to remember certain things that I wanted to ask. So I wrote these things down. It was due to the fact that I knew the person on the phone was a salesperson. And they probably will just tell me whatever they think will make me happy, which isn't really that great for sales. But a lot of people use this as a tactic. And everybody just be aware that a lot of times they will use this as a tactic just to make sure they close the sale. They will say whatever they want so they can close the sale and they can get paid. So it wasn't until 2 weeks after in which the first technician came. And that was a free service. That was for, supposedly we had certain types of insects that were eating the root of our grass. Before I gave her my financial information, I asked her if there was something we needed. She said no. Everything seems fine. Nothing you need to do. Okay, and I said, since you told me they're just going to show up, can you make sure they do a courtesy ring on the doorbell? Because I don't want them to just go on my property before they start anything. She said, okay, I'll write that in the notes. I said, I want to speak with the technician before he starts, or he or she starts doing anything. She says, yeah, that's fine. We could do that. I could always request for that. Okay. So I also gave her my phone number. I said, call my number because my husband, he's very busy at work and I'm the one that stays at home. And I'm the one that you want to make sure is aware that the person is coming in, not my husband. Because he probably won't know. And he's very busy and he can tend to work long hours. And sometimes he won't be able to relay the message over to me or in time, or, you know, for me to know that you guys are stopping by. Oh, no problem, no problem, no problem. Okay. This is the first time I came in contact with a company. So of course I'm going to give them, you know, I'm going to give them a chance. I'm not going to just burn their house down and say, okay, you're lying. I'm not going to say anything like that. They haven't done anything for me to say that. So 2 weeks later, my husband lets me know, oh, the technician's going to be at the house this day. So I get irritated. I get very disappointed and annoyed. And I tell him, why are they calling you? I gave him my number. So they call me because I'm the one here. He said, yeah, I gave him your number too, but I don't know why they're calling me. So I said, okay, fine. It's a good thing you let me know ahead of time because, you know, I want to be able to be lucid and awake and prepared when they stop by. And they don't give out the date. They don't even give you a time range. They just tell you we're going to show up at this day. You know, it's not even like that annoying UPS thing. It's by end of day, which is 8 p.m. or 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., whatever it would be. They didn't even have a time frame. Zero time frame. So I waited and waited and waited, and I do have 3 dogs. And they just started barking out of nowhere. And my current state now, due to my pregnancy and my head trauma and all of those symptoms have combined and really, really taken over my body. My memory I can lose it in a few minutes. So I had to constantly remind myself, Trugreen is going to be here, Trugreen is going to be here. But at some point of the day, I did forget. So when my dog started barking, I just thought it was probably our neighbor across the street because they have a bunch of teenage kids, and sometimes one of the dogs would start to bark through the window. I don't know why, but she would. I initially thought it was that because, let's backtrack. I requested that they ring the doorbell. No one rang the doorbell. Next thing I know, I see someone in my backyard. Yes, backyard. And we have a fenced yard. someone in my backyard trespassing, just walking around. I then look at my front yard and I see a Trugreen truck. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I didn't see a Trugreen truck from where I was sitting at that time. I just saw it in the backyard. I just saw a man in the backyard. So I got up and I tried to look for him. But when I went outside, he was already gone from the backyard. So I ran to my front door. Yes, there's a little bit of distance between my access to my backyard from where I was. Yeah, there's a little bit of distance. So it took me a while. He was kind of quick too. So I had to run. I ran over to the backyard and he was immediately gone. And I even was like, hey, are you there? Are you there? You know, I was like, are you there? Hey, you, whatever. Nothing. So I locked my back door. I ran through the front door and I saw that there was a Trugreen truck. He was sitting in the driver's seat in his truck. And I was, at this time, I was still pretty extremely sensitive to the sunlight. So I called him out and I said, can you just come over? Because I can't be where you're at. You know, I didn't really explain very thoroughly. I didn't want to do that, you know, out in the open. So he came over near my front door and explained, you know, I can't be where the sun is because I'm pregnant and all this stuff. So I told him right away, I said, why didn't you ring my doorbell? I asked your company to do that right away. He said, well, I don't really do that because I get yelled at by other people. And I said, but I requested that. I expected you to ring my doorbell. And he just looked away. He was, I think, just being lazy, to be quite honest, because if someone requests for you to ring your doorbell and we're informed ahead of time, it doesn't make any sense. There's no logic, there's no common sense in there. So he was just being lazy and wanted to do his job by just not even talking to the resident and trespassing to begin with. Because I didn't, you know, I was at home. I didn't just say, just go in the backyard. Yeah, just touch my stuff, all that stuff. So I talked to him about it and I said, what were you doing today? And he said he was doing the pesticides and all that stuff. And I said, you were very quick. And he explained to me that the reason he was very quick, because he was only here for like 5 minutes or less. Probably between 5 to 10. We live in a huge piece of land, half an acre. Okay, it's not like huge, like 50 acres, but 10 minutes, really? So, front and back and the sides too, you know, because our house is like here, and then the front yard, there's the side yard, and then the backyard is the majority of the yard, or the property. So I talked to him and I go, why is it that quick? He said, well, you didn't really have the right equipment. And I go, what are you talking about? He said, he explained to me that the chemical that he had to spray for the bugs and all the problems we were having, like mosquitoes and stuff like that, we didn't have the right plants because we don't have any trees, and we don't have a lot of bushes. And I said, well, when I spoke to your company, they said it didn't matter, that it should be fine. And he explained to me, he said, yeah, they're just trained to keep you on the phones. This is coming from a Trugreen technician, okay? They're just trained to keep you on the phones and say whatever they think you make you happy. I said, oh, okay. Yeah, I kind of figured. But, you know, I did ask if there's something that you guys need. Is there something that we need to do? Is there something that we need to do to prepare? And I was just told, no, they're just going to be in and out. So I spoke with him probably about 10 minutes. I asked him a lot of questions, and I did feel that that particular technician was lazy. I think he was also kind of frustrated because he came out all the way out here at our home, and there isn't really a lot of places he could spray. But still, it's the same company. It's not like it's an affiliated company that maybe you can kind of be like, well, that's our mother company that took the call, and it's our different company that does the job. Actually, it's one whole company. So I tell my husband what happened, and he also had other questions. So I told him, what the guy told me. He wasn't very happy about that. And I said, because he said, I asked them if there's anything we needed. I said, I know. You had it on your notes. I also asked her the same thing. She said, no, nothing. You don't even need to be home. Blah, blah, blah. So he gets frustrated about it. But that was for the supposedly promotional free bug spray. It doesn't matter if it's free, promotional, whatever. It's still a service, right? So our first service was supposed to be half the price of a regular service when they come out per visit. So it was supposedly discounted. So we get that service 1 to 2 weeks later. And again, I did call them and ask them, the guy didn't, ring the doorbell. Can you make sure the next technician comes over, put it in our file, in our notes, in our account, whatever you want to call it, because everybody's company is different. Please put it in there that I always want the doorbell to be rung. I even put a sign in the front for that to happen. So I do that. The second guy that stops by is the one that will start the weed killing and the grass bug, or I forgot the name of it, but it's a grass root bug that eats the root of the grass, so the grass starts to wilt and die. He tells me he does that, and as well as the weed killing. So I talked to him, and he was very, very informative. He was telling me all these things. And I asked him, how safe is it? And he was telling me to stay inside, don't take children, yourself, or animals outside for 4 hours. And I said, yeah, I do have a few dogs. And he said, yeah, just don't take them out for a few hours, 4 hours, from the time I'm done. I'm like, okay, fine. He was, like I said, he was very helpful. He was very informative. And he did ring the doorbell. But I did put a sign. No. He didn't ring the... Yeah, he rang the doorbell. He was the one that did that. So we had a good 5-10 minute conversation. He was explaining how everything works, because we have our own plants that we consume the fruit and the vegetables. And he was explaining to me how safe everything is and all this good stuff and whatever, blah, blah, blah. So he started working. He was here for a while, and going in the front and the back and all stuff. I mean, after that little chit chat, he didn't really talk to me again. He just left. He left a door tag with a receipt in there, or like a paperwork for their job that day. So I tell my husband, when he came home, or when the next time I saw him, what happened, all that stuff. Because sometimes when he gets home, I'm already asleep. And sometimes he can go to work the next day and I'm still asleep. Or, I'm awake and he went to sleep and I go back to sleep and he's still asleep, something like that. Most of the time it's because of my hormones. So, I told him, what happened and all this stuff, and he touched base with me and asked me, if I talked to the guy and all that stuff. So, I shared him all that information. He goes, okay, it sounds good. A week, I would say about 12 days later, weeds are growing strong. Like super strong. Like if my grass was this tall, the weeds are this tall. Okay. And if you own like a good set of land and you do your own yard work, you're gonna notice that when you are mowing your lawn or your grass, that weeds grow way faster than grass. And I kind of think whatever they gave him was like vitamins or like a growth spurt, like a vitamin growth spurt for the weeds, because they were getting stronger, they were getting thicker, they were just getting better and better. So supposedly their services is 6 weeks apart. So this is about 12 days. Because my husband's really busy and he works long hours and stuff, it's only on his days off that he actually has the time to go outside and look around. And because my allergic reaction to the sun, I can't really, see a lot of the weeds. I only go to take the dogs out in a certain part of the yard, which is very close to the house. And I don't go too far because our lot is rectangular and it goes long ways. So at a certain point, it gets really dark and I can't see anything, even if we have the lights. It's hard for me to do that, and I don't want to risk tripping, falling, and falling on my belly, and I'm pregnant. So, and also my dogs could get injured. So I don't go too far. So my husband comes and talks to me about it and says, our weeds aren't getting any better. You said they sprayed it, right? I said, yeah, the guy was here like about an hour, maybe a little bit more to do his paperwork. He was here a while. It wasn't like it was in and out just like, just like the pest guy. He said, well, what do you want me to do? I said, what did they tell you how long it's supposed to be done? They told me it should be like 5-7 days, that we should see some kind of improvement. And I said, it's been over a week. It's going to be 2 weeks in a few days. He said, oh, okay. And I said, they contact you. They don't contact me. So I want it to be purely, you want to talk to them. I can be right here. You can repeat everything they say. We write everything down. So we did that. And he said, okay, they're going to give us, they're going to come back and supposedly not charge us. Because remember, our deal was they were supposed to come out every 6 weeks. So they come back out in less than a week after that call. So the first time they did the weeds to the second time, it was between 2 to 3 weeks later. They come out. I still have my sign out and it says, please ring the doorbell. And it even has a smiley face in the bottom. The third person that came here from Trugreen, which is the second technician that does the weed killing and the bug spray, he never rang the doorbell. And he was just like doing everything and didn't ring the doorbell. And you know what? I already got the answers from the other two. and I was feeling really horrible that day. I couldn't get out of the couch. I just said, you know what, I'll just wait till his truck is gone. And this is the guy that parked the truck across the street. Because the first guy didn't do that. The second guy, I think, also parked across the street, so I could see them. I could see the truck right away. The third guy did wear a Trugreen uniform. The second guy didn't. The second guy wore something like you would think he was working in the office. It's very strange. Because the first guy and the third guy, they wore like a polo and it says Trugreen. But anyway, so he's doing all that. 7 days later, weeds are still going strong. Like, it was as if we were giving it fertilizer. It just kept going strong and strong and strong. So, they've been coming out here every 2 to 3 weeks instead of every 6 weeks because nothing has happened. And after the second session, my husband called them again after the 7 days and was told, oh, it's actually like 7 to 14 days. And my husband said, well, it's been a month. Initially, you guys told us 5 to 7 days, and now it's supposed to be 7 to 14 days. It's been over a month that you guys have been here the first time. So I'm going to send you guys a picture. He requested for someone else or a supervisor to come out here just to make sure everything's done, double checking the equipment. They gave him like some bogus answer. We can't do that. We can't do that. We can't do that. He asked for an email address so he can send a picture of the weeds. And this is what they said. And I think this is the biggest red flag. We don't have an email address. We have a company email address, just one. And you can send that in our website. I didn't think about it. And when I was talking about it to someone, a friend of mine, I was then informed they're making sure they're not getting a paper trail. So to me, if a company doesn't have any email, most likely it's because they're scammers. They're fraudulent. Because he was also explaining, our friend, that if it's just a phone call, then if you take him to court, it's a he said, she said kind of situation. You're not going to win your case. If you do it via email, what happens is there's a paper trail, an electronic paper trail, and you can bring that to court, and the client is definitely going to win, hands down, because you have proof. So after that, after the 2 sessions, they charge us. I asked my husband, why are they charging us when we never got the service? Because they also said they guarantee the weeds are going to die. Did not happen at all. Weeds are everywhere. And again, they're very freaking healthy. They're so thick and healthy. And like, they're like a chubby child. You know, like they're not malnourished. They're not withering. It's not like their skin and bones. It's nothing like that at all. It's not even close to like withering or like malnourishment or dying. Like it's just thriving. So the third time for the weed people and the 4th time for the company to come out, I just see a tag. I didn't even see the person. I think I probably fell asleep on the couch waiting for them. And our weeds are still out of control. So a few days ago or a week ago, my husband and I were talking to each other about that. And I said, just cancel the Trugreen because they keep charging us. And all the weeds are getting worse. And I even asked him, I'm like, can you request a refund? And he said, I'll try. I don't know. So today, before my husband goes to work, he gets a phone call letting us know that they're going to be stopping by tomorrow. So he tells them, don't send anyone over. And they threaten him by telling him, you can't do that because you're in a binding contract. Okay. Basically, you want us to stay in a binding contract that I never got to see. And secondly, you want us to stay in a service that is just theft, fraud, and a scam because none of our weeds are dead. And you should see my husband's legs. They're covered in bug bites. Supposedly, that was going to take care of all the bugs. And supposedly, the guy said it was going to last us like a certain amount of time. That didn't really happen. This is just within July and August. So he said, I don't want you guys to come out again because number one, you haven't really helped us in anything. You haven't done anything. And it's not the second time. It's not the, it's not like it's the first time we're going to give you a chance. It's not that. You've been here multiple times. This is going to be your fifth visit. Fifth or sixth. And nothing has worked. There are weeds everywhere. They told him, you can't do that. We're still going to show up. He said, well, okay, just give me my refund then. Don't charge me and then give me my refund of all the payments that we made because you guys didn't really do what you guaranteed to do. He was told to get a lawyer and to file a claim in small claims court because they came out and did their job. Just because you come out and you did your job, but you didn't really do it correctly, it's not really the same. Okay? That is still fraud. You're pretending to do a service, but you didn't really execute it correctly, so you didn't really give us the goal that you claim was going to happen by the end of it. I think that's fraud and it's theft, and that's a scam. So I really don't recommend Trugreen. And my husband told me already, he said, if tomorrow they come by, call the cops right away because they're going to be trespassing and we don't want them here. Because I told them already, I told them, don't come over. We don't want your service anymore. We don't want your business because you guys are taking our money and you're not giving us what you said you were going to do. And I said, okay, not a problem. So that's why I'm making this video. Anyone who's kind of on the fence and thinking of a company to do their to do anything with Trugreen, stay away. They're gonna take your money. They keep taking your money. They're never gonna do what you're paying them to do. They're gonna keep giving you some BS answers and say things like, "Oh, it's gonna be an X amount of time, an X amount of time, an X amount of time." They're trying to say, "Oh, it's gonna take like 7 days." It's already been 12 days. It's past 5 days from what you're telling me. Oh, sometimes it can take 14 days. So you're kind of still in the range. And then later on, sometimes it can take 3 weeks. It's been 5 weeks. Oh, it has? Then we'll send someone out again. But they don't tell you that they're charging you until they automatically take it from your account because they only take checking accounts too. They don't take a credit card. Because with a credit card, it's very easy for you to dispute that. So, just to make sure, anybody who's interested in wanting to get the Trugreen service, stay away. They're liars. They're scammers. They're thieves. Their service is a fraud. I don't even know why they're still in business. It's disgusting. I mean, this is a scam. This is not right. You can't just pretend to do something, send someone over and tell them, oh yeah, we're going to fix your problem. You're going to pay us, right? And take their money. And then they don't get what they're paying for. Okay? I really, 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 really do not agree with their service. And please stay far away from Trugreen. Go find a different company that's going to help you. The first guy actually tried to trash a few other companies that they're competing with. And when people do that, that's a red flag. Because if they're doing a great job, they shouldn't be trashing the competition. They should just focus on what they're doing. So, my advice, stay away from Trugreen. Don't even call them. Don't even think about it, because you're going to lose your money and you're not going to get the service that they're saying they're going to do, especially the guarantee part. And also, what kind of a freaking company doesn't have an email address? It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make any sense. So, thank you so much for giving me the time. And like I said, I mean, I wanted to be as detailed as possible on what happened. I didn't want to make it to be just a 2-minute video and just tell you, don't go with Trugreen. I wanted you guys to know every single detail and every single step that happened in my whole experience with Trugreen, so that you can understand what happened, and you won't think that I'm just saying it because I was kind of unhappy with the service. So there you go. Nothing that they've ever came out for ever worked. Nothing. Zero. They're a worthless company. They're scammers. They're thieves. They're fraudulent. And I really hope they go out of business pretty soon. And I hope if there's anyone out there who is also in the same boat with Trugreen, you guys might be thinking of wanting to do a complaint together or talk to someone like a lawyer or something, like a group thing. My contact information is down below. Leave something in the comments. Feel free. I will communicate with you guys. I will talk to you guys, whatever you want. And let's get this happening if you guys want to do something about it. But for right now, I just want to share my experience. This is very current. And I really, really hope they don't come by tomorrow, because I'm not kidding around and I'm going to call cops. So thank you guys. And I hope you like my video. I know this is what, this is probably one of the first service companies that I'm giving a full review on, and a very, very, very current review on. So thank you so much for the patience. Thank you so much for the attention. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. I hope you're going to hit the subscribe button and be a part of my YouTube channel family. And check out my other videos. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.